What is happening? What is up, guys? It is the XRP Alpha bringing you that heat today. So we've been covering all the things FTX and just keeping you up to date. But this thing is so fire. Like we have to go over it today. This is hitting mainstream media now, and it's hitting hard. Everybody in America is seeing this stuff. This is bringing the crypto sphere right into the spotlight. This is, and not in a good way, to be 100% honest with you, but they're forming their narratives. They're gonna pass regulations. They're gonna do all the things that were meant to be done. We've gone over and again, but just you have to watch this. This breaks it down very well, and we'll jump in.
Go unnoticed in life. You may put in a few extra hours at work, and your boss will tell you it's part of the job. You may feel good about your new haircut, only to find out no one really cares. But people will always notice just how much money you stole from them.
I don't know what these people were thinking, and I don't think they realized that besides wealthy investors, they were hurting middle-class investors, retired police officers, firefighters. It's outrageous.
First Selectman Ken Flato can add his town of Fairfield, Connecticut to Bernard Madoff's list of victims. The town's 58,000-person pension fund just lost $42 million overnight.
And history sure has a way of repeating itself, sometimes in bigger ways. The Democratic Party finds itself in the middle of the biggest financial fraud case in U.S. history. A cryptocurrency company, like the Bitcoin things, just lost $2 billion of its customers' money. They didn't just lose it in the market, it's just gone.
Real quick pause, and just so everybody remembers that we have to educate the people that are around us that don't understand. Like my mom was asking about this the other day. Bitcoin, if you held it on a cold wallet or even a hot wallet, like if you held it, your own keys, this doesn't affect you at all. This was an exchange. This is the equivalent of Greece going down and not giving money out to its people. The banks just shutting down and bailing themselves in, which they did. Did my mom or anyone that doesn't understand anything about monetary policy, did they freak out and go take their money out of the bank? No. But it's the exact same thing that's happening. People get scared, like, oh, can't invest in cryptocurrency because this happened. This has happened in the fiat world over and over and over and over again. And that's what hopefully Bitcoin and cryptocurrency will change. We can real-time audit these things and demand, proof of ownership. Everything's, one-to-one. And like CZ said, we're going to see more of that stuff with the Merkle tree, proof of reserves and all of that stuff. So, I don't know. Let's jump back in.
Someone stole it. And the company called FTX just went bankrupt after they blew up $32 billion.
The crypto market in chaos after the collapse of the FTX exchange with a new set of questions on where billions and billions of dollars went.
A criminal investigation of its founder, Sam Bankman-Fried, has been opened in the Bahamas.
This is being called the worst disaster in the history of crypto.
This is bigger than Bernie Madoff. But unlike Bernie Madoff, who was getting rich off a Ponzi scheme, the Democratic Party was getting rich off of FTX. Now, FTX came onto the scene in 2019, and it spent $10 million to put Joe Biden in the White House in 2020. And the guy running FTX, the second biggest Democrat donor in the midterms, after Soros, of course, spent $40 million to get Democrats elected. Wonder why someone like John Fetterman was able to raise as much as 4 times as much cash as Oz? Well, you can thank Sam Bankman-Fried, who ran this crypto scheme out of a penthouse in the Bahamas.
Hi, my name is Sam, and this is my story.
Sam has crazy hair. Sam is vegan. Sam sleeps 5 hours a night.
Sam's mom is one of the biggest founders of like a bunch of Democratic, not think tanks, what are they called? Organizations where they raise money. And obviously, I'm sure she raised a ton with the help of her son. Sam's aunt is a part of the World Economic Forum. Sam's dad is a professor somewhere. Just super connected. It gets worse.
Sam lives in the Bahamas with 10 roommates. Sam is 29 years old only, but Sam has $22 billion. And he wants to donate all of it to charity.
And
Sam's got titties, too.
the charity was the Democratic Party. Look at Sam right there behind George Soros. Soros paid for a crime wave, and Sam may have committed a crime to stop a red wave. The guy was throwing so much money around, it got the owner a seat right next to Clinton.
Speaking of that, let's talk about that. Everybody knows everything about Epstein and Clinton. All the photos that were released, for sure, they're always hanging out. Can't even remember how many times he rode on Epstein's plane to his island. There's nothing you could say to me that would change my mind. Like, Clinton's a fucking creep. Anyways, what does Sam do when FTX comes out of literally nowhere? Obviously not with his money. And if you look at, he'll actually show it here in a second, and this will make more sense. But the money laundering scheme that goes from FTX coming out of nowhere, making a bunch of money, Ukraine investing in FTX, US giving the Ukraine money, and then FTX donating back to the Democratic Party. It's this vicious circle. It's money laundering. That's exactly what they just did. And at like the highest order. It's fucking crazy that they got away with this. Oh, but the right rigged the, they're asking for voter recounts. That's what we're worried about. We're not worried about this shit. The left will ignore this. I would love to send this to so many people.
And he got an invite to Bill's after party with celebrities like Katy Perry, of course.
Oh, weird. Katy Perry. Yeah, she's not weird. But what I was going to say is, just like Epstein, what did Sam do with his billions? Bought a house in the Bahamas. Reported bunch of... Dude, it gets weird, man. Bunch of orgy parties with nerds and just like... This shit, why does it always turn out this way? I try to ignore the conspiracies. Like, that used to be my life. I'm not about it anymore. And it always ends up here. It's ridiculous.
Clinton's really got an eye for mega donors. First Epstein, Sam Bankman-Fried, who they call SPF. If you spend enough money on
SBF, not PF. He keeps saying SPF. It's pretty funny.
Democrats, they don't care how you got the money as long as it gets to them. All the celebrities were jumping in too. Larry David was doing commercials for the guy. Tom Brady and Giselle were ambassadors.
Steph Curry.
The John Fetterman of cryptocurrency, SPF, was just at the White House, actually. He got 2 closed-doors meetings with Biden's senior advisor in the spring. Right around the time Biden was shipping billions to Ukraine. Oh. The funny thing is, Ukraine was an investor in FTX. No. You may be asking, why is a country in the middle of a war investing in crypto? Shouldn't they be buying weapons or, if they have to invest in anything, doesn't crypto sound a little risky for Zelensky? You wouldn't want an investment with a solid rate of return and years of stable growth? No. Zelensky thought he'd give it to a guy living in a tax haven, fresh out of college with funny hair. Well, when Democrats are sending you billions of dollars of weaponry, the least you could do is reward their favorite mega donor. And what did FTX do with the money Ukraine invested? Well, they plowed it right back into the Democratic Party. Democrats send money to Ukraine, Ukraine sends money to FTX, and FTX sends money to the Democrats' campaigns. Now, I don't know if this is war profiteering or money laundering. I don't even know, but it needs to be investigated. And we don't really know who's getting what because SPF, the crypto kid, who looks like a mini Madoff, likes his money in the dark. So
In the end, I want to do what's right for the country.
You think every money you spend in politics should be disclosed publicly? Are you comfortable with that?
If there was a norm where...
Whoa. Dude, look at him shaking. Everyone talks about him being high on drugs. Watch this. I just noticed this. This is crazy. Watch his
I want to do
chair.
what's right for the country.
You think every
Look
money
at
you
that.
spend in politics should be disclosed
Look at his
publicly?
arm.
Are you comfortable with that?
If there was a norm where every dollar that everyone donated in politics was to be disclosed publicly, I would have a lot of sympathy for that. I think I might support it. I haven't thought carefully about it enough to know. But
Well, it sounds like what you're saying is maybe there's some
Look at him
donations that you
shake.
have made that you wouldn't make if you knew they were going to be immediately public.
So I think I don't generally think about it that way.
Dude, this guy's like on the spectrum, and there's nothing wrong with that. But so is Vitalik, and the way they talk is very similar. I have my own theories on the Ethereum free pass and all of that stuff. I think Vitalik is bought and paid for at this point. It is what it is, guys. I'm not here to fight against them. That's not my war. My war is to make you and I as much money as possible. If we choose to fight that war after becoming wealthy, then that's one thing. But as of now, what are we going to do? We can't do anything. There's nothing we can do. They got us by the balls, dude. But that's just how I feel. You don't have to feel that way. That's just my opinion. Let's keep going.
Can you believe Chuck Todd? I mean, first they fall for Avenatti, then they fall for this guy. I mean, was it even his money to begin with? It looks like it was investor money he was spending on Democrats. The Wall Street Journal reports FTX was cracking into customers' accounts and using their funds for other stuff. And then when customers wanted to withdraw their money, a lot of it was gone. The Justice Department and the SEC have launched an investigation because this looks like the mega donor also lied to Congress.
We have a transparent system where all of our public market data is openly available.
So transparent that we, hired the guy that had the freaking God mode backdoor to the betting poker platform where they could see everyone's cards, and they stole so much money. And they did the same thing in this situation, as you all know, where they freaking got hacked right after all of this went down and all this money's missing. Like, this whole thing is the biggest rug pull in crypto history, and it literally is bigger than Bernie Madoff. Like, this shit is insane, you guys. $32 billion just fucking whoosh. Like, that's nuts. But all those Dems, they got their money, didn't they? Didn't they?
And free, where risk parameters are transparent.
No, so transparent. Did he think he was too big to fail because he had regulators in his pocket? Probably. I mean, you're bulletproof when you can buy politicians. And this guy was planning on buying Biden with $1 billion.
I imagine you have some probability distribution in your mind of how much money you might give in the next election cycle. Like, give me some number.
I would guess north of 100 million.
So if that's a floor, what's the ceiling? Like $1 billion? Might you give $1 billion?
Yeah, I think that...
$1 billion is really easy to give away when you didn't earn it. That's the only thing I can say on that.
That's a decent, thing to look at.
So the Democrats' second biggest donor just blew up right after he helped Democrats keep the Senate. Oops. That's a shame. Perfect timing for Chuck Schumer, though. But this was a family affair. The crypto fraudster's brother has a job in Congress, of course. He works on the Financial Services Committee, and he works for a Democrat. So the guy in charge of oversight is staffed by family members of Minnie Madoff. Whatever happened to the $32 billion anyway? I wonder if there was any red flags. Oh, here's one. The person running cash flow at FTX isn't good at math.
By the way, before this plays, this is not the person running FTX. This This is one of the, if you followed previous videos, so the SEC head, Gary Gensler, worked at MIT. His boss, can't remember his name, was working at MIT as like a head of economics professor, and his daughter works for Sam Bankman-Fried at Alameda, which is the hedge fund that he created, that SBF created to do all of the trading between FTX and his hedge fund to take advantage of all of this stuff. Yeah.
Use very little math. Use a lot of like elementary school math.
So I see those abstract math classes are not required.
You never have all the information, so you kind of just have to make your best guess based on what you can see. We tend not to have things like stop losses. I think those aren't necessarily a great risk management tool. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a good example of a trade where I've lost a ton of money. Well, I don't know. I probably don't want to go into specifics too much with that.
You had executives bragging they don't do risk management. And that, by the way, that was Minnie Madoff's girlfriend. She was living in a penthouse in one of the world's famous tax havens with him in the Bahamas. There were 10 kids working in this office, and they were all sleeping with each other. It was a polyamorous penthouse. It's what you call a pump and dump scheme.
Oh, they were pumping. They were pumping hard. Fuck, guys. Yeah, I told you this shit was wild. Anyways, like, subscribe. You know I'm going to keep you up to date all the time. Love you guys. Peace out.